welcome everyone to today's present show. I don't know now. From now on, we will change the music every single time. That's just for the sake of doing it. Here, Lele, and as usual, the mindful Pat and ciao Pat, and our guest of today that is Mala or Malabika, as you would call her, but Mala is the nickname, and I like it. Mala, welcome to the present show.
Hey Lele, hi Pat. Thank you so much. It's just such an awesome honor and a privilege to be on this show. So Lele, before we proceed, I just wanted to greet our audience who might be live on the show or maybe listening in later, because I think it's such a privilege to be able to kick this off from the land of India. So Namaskar, that's my mother tongue, Bengali.
Namaskar.
Namaskar. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste. That's Hindi, our
Hindi,
national
okay.
language in India. And I live in Bangalore, which is a part of Karnataka state. And here we say Namaskara. So Namaskara.
So namaskara to you, Mala. And actually, you already said exactly what I wanted to say as beginning from this show. So you are the first guest that is coming from India. So now me and Pat, we know that all this practice about meditation and mindfulness originally came from that land many years ago. So from you, actually, I wanted to know something about it. Since we spoke about mindfulness, we spoke about practice. So does this kind of show and the practice we're talking about sound with you, or I don't know, from you it's so normal and common that you don't actually need to get into mindful practice? You're always mindful from India perspective. So what is the tradition in your hometown, and how do you see mindfulness?
Yeah, wonderful question to think about, Lele, because to give you an answer which with some context, let me share with you a little bit about life in India. Maybe that will help color it a little better. So in India, we have this family life, or this stages of life. Let me call it that way. There are various stages of life per the traditional practices. So you begin with the student stage of life, brahmacharya, as we call it. Then you get into the family stage, garhasthya. Then vanaprastha is when you retire. You take some time to retire from all of it. And then finally, when you know you're ready for it, you take sannyasa, which is the renunciation part of it. So it's also called ashramas, the 4 ashramas of life. So, having said that, there are also unique individual traits and tendencies. So when I look at my tendencies, my mental image of myself, I believe I have not yet exited the student stage of life. And if you really ask me, that's where I'd like to be all my life. It's just so joyous for me to be able to constantly learn. So having given you that context about India and about my personal traits, some of the things that I also wanted to share that shapes the whole concept of mindfulness, meditation, etc., among us Indians, is this concept of learning from your family in the tradition of the teacher and the student. The teacher is called guru, the student is called shishya. So the guru shishya parampara, as we call it, the tradition, is where you treat your parents, or if you have, if you're privileged to have grandparents in your family, you learn from them, you observe, you learn. In fact, in most families still who are very traditional in their upbringing and culture, parents and grandparents, they're almost treated as gods. So there are a lot of things to be thought about over there in terms of making sure that you're not really taking a perspective of life where you refuse to see flaws, but the whole point is you really learn from somebody who's probably more experienced in life than you are. So
So in
these are
this
some of the.
case, I am the Shishya, and Mindful Pat is our guru,
Yes,
and
exactly,
we are
exactly.
here all to learn from him. And this is so you are trying to say as well that from you are always on a kind of pattern where this is all about learning mindfulness, right? So since you are in a family state, you already have an opportunity to call each other in a different way and have different roles, and these roles are giving you kind of the launching pad
Grounding, exactly,
for a mindfulness practice
exactly,
learning throughout the whole life, let's say.
exactly.
Okay.
You're absolutely right there, Lele. And again, bringing the individual perspective back into the picture, one of the things that really shaped me was a few of the things that really shaped me. One was within our family in particular. My grandparents, they have always been very disciplined, and a lot of it came from religion. A lot of it came from other things. And at the same time, while they were very disciplined, they also indicated that openness to really hear my perspective, to really hear the perspective of people who traditionally would have been considered junior and stuff like that. So some of that discipline also helped with being aware, being in the moment, spending time in meditation, etc., etc. All of those things which they demonstrated, and I learned from right from the time as I remember. And then the other thing that really shaped me, and here I'll bring in a little bit of a not so positive perspective, is my father's health. So at a pretty young age, because he used to work extremely hard, he had a lot of diseases, lifestyle diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, heart diseases, etc., etc. And faced with mortality that he saw stared in the face, he started doing a couple of very specific things, some breathing exercises. In Indian terminology, it's called pranayama. And I had that opportunity to really watch him and see him really come out of some of the, negative consequences that he was hurtling towards. And that had a very specific shaping influence early on in my life. So, that's some
Yeah, but
individual.
we also spoke about we had Sylvia once in the present show, and she also told that through health issues, she entered into yoga meditation practice, and through that actually she overcame this kind of issues. So like she found much, even a direct benefit on her immune system and so on around it. So it's kind of interesting as well that you are sharing the same. So it's as confirmation. But
True.
that's from a normal perspective, like from when you go to school or you go to office and you start working, like we are all doing every day. Do you also have mindful minutes, or it's just part of the tradition? So everybody has their own mindful minute at home, or how does it work? If you can draw for us a line.
So Lele, I'm still learning. I don't think I fully know what mindfulness is. Can be the potential of positive impact it can provide me. I'll just
Only
share.
Pat knows.
Yes, Pat is our guru here. So that's the reason why I consumed all of the wonderful videos of those practices he's shared in the community, and some of the shows that both of you have been doing here. So it was just awesome, and I look forward to more. So what I'll share with you though, Lele, is some of the very simple daily habits that I practice. And again, please treat it as an individual's journey. It may not be universal, and different people may have different tendencies. So before I share practices, it's I think also necessary for me to share with you why at all I would do those things, and I'm going to tell you that I do.
Sure.
Um, so I think it's at certain stages of life you start inspecting what is it that you're about, why are you here, how do you want to live life, and stuff like that, right? So I think I want to be joyful. That's one of the things, and I want to be constantly experiencing the knowledge that I seek after, run after. It's not enough to just look at something on your smartphone or whatever and just move on to the next thing that's grabbing your attention. I want to be aware. So I want to be joyful. I want to be aware, and also want to be healthful. I want health. Without health, there's nothing. So with those, with that context in the background, some of the very simple things which I do is make sure that my first few waking moments are positive.
Okay.
And what I do is similar to the music that you were playing for this show prior to when we began. I have this playlist of certain things which, over time I have noticed they provide me that positive feeling. So some music from, this person, Hari Prasad Chaurasia, he plays a flute. And then there's some music from this wonderful sitar maestro called Ravi Shankar, and stuff like that. So that works for me. So I have that. I play that first thing in the morning. And there's also one other thing. So this has been something which I've been doing since I think about 2011, 2010, 2011, which is I tried to listen to a little bit of, narration of stories from, again, our holy book. It's called Gita. And the intent over there is to really learn about certain ways in which we live life. What are the implications, and how can we really experience, get a better experience out of it? So that's what that book is about. It's called a religious book. But it's really a book about life.
So that's where Mindful Pat is taking all his stories. And now we found it.
So we found out your source, Pat.
Yeah. Source of inspiration.
Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, those are some of the practices, waking up in a way where the first thing you let enter into your head is something which is reinforcing, something which is positive and joyful.
Music and stories.
Yes.
Is that like on your alarm clock, or do you go on your computer and turn it on?
What I do, Pat, is a mix of both, but majorly I use my smartphone, where I have this playlist which I have saved, and on a given day I play whichever one I feel like the first thing in the morning. And yeah, I don't turn it off. I put it in airplane mode. So I do not want an emergency waking me up the first thing in the morning. I very much respect and I love what I do at work. I do not want that to be the first thing I see. So 1 or 2 minutes is what I want to have for myself when I wake up. So that's one practice.
So remember, the airplane mode can be called also the meditation mode or the mindful mode, right? From who is participating at the present show. So guys, when you do meditation, notification are not something that is helping you. Turn on the mindful mode on your phone and start with the practice.
True. And yeah, this is a technique I learned from my father. So again, going back to all of the things I was saying about Guru, Shishya, Parampara, and, family being really the root of where we learn what we learn and get our grounding. So that's where it began.
Pat, anything to share? Or
I love listening to Mala's story. And I think this is what we should all take to heart or take to mind is the individual's own path. Oftentimes we get frustrated or stuck because we decide that this is what I want to achieve. And you decide that since somebody did it that way, I need to follow that path.
True.
And so often that path becomes the biggest obstacle you have. So creating your own way as it comes along, each moment by moment, is the golden solution, I think. So I really appreciate both of your time today, and thanks.
Thank you so much, Pat.
So at this point, I think we have the time for our mindful minute, right, Pat? So Mala, any any mindful minute you would like to share with us that we can bring with us for the whole week, so that we can, have our nice mindful time, at least folks that are watching us and watching our replays.
In fact, Lele, I was thinking, why don't we take this opportunity to learn more from Pat? So, Pat, if you could take Lele and I through one closing moment of mindfulness. As I mentioned, I have this tremendous appetite for learning, so I'd really like to take this opportunity to learn from you.
Okay. I was thinking that maybe you could play one of your songs in the background.
Oh, let me see if we can do that. But I guess we're on a time bound schedule, so we'll
This
do that
sounds
another.
like 3 hours, but
We could bend it a bit. So.
Okay, let me see if I can pull it up.
Do something through your microphone. We can hear something. Yes.
Yeah.
So the one that Lele was sharing was actually my favorite. It's called Saas. Translated in English, it means breath. Now, the other favorite that I have is Ravi Shankar's. I'm going to look it up in YouTube. I don't have it in the device that I have with me now. I have two devices, by the way. One for personal use and one for...
Okay. Then we might not be able to hear it. So I'll do the exercise related to breath. It's a visualization technique, and I'll try to make it in a minute. So get comfortable.
So I will play something from, if I can. Do you want me to play
something
sound? But it's too strong then. But I will play it. But hold on.
Lele, do you have that? That little piece where there are children singing, or children laughing. That one. Do you have that one? I think that.
I had also that one, of course. So I will put that one, guys, and Pat, you can start. Hold on. You can go.
All right.
Okay.
अपना है ख्याल अपना है ख्याल
Can you hear my voice?
We can hear your voice, so let's put this and we can hear your voice.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right, so close your eyes or sit back, have them open. Start bringing the attention to the breath. Have a balloon, deflated balloon. Focus on any tension, recurring thoughts you have. As you exhale, fill the balloon. All the thoughts and stress. Next step, you want to let go of to the balloon.
I can see it going. So guys, today we learned from Mal as well the opportunity that not only meditation is, mindfulness practice is something that helps you throughout your life and work, but the way to do it is also connecting with stories, with music, and Pat just told us we can focus on images that actually let us feel much more mindful. So with this, have a nice week, everyone. Thank you, Mala, for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pat, as well, a lot for leading a mindful minute and for being here as our guru. We are all your, how to say student, Mala?
Sorry?
Student, how to say student?
Shishya. We are all Pat's
We are
Shishya.
all your Shishya.
And you are my gurus.
Of course.
You're too kind, Pat. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So see you next week with the present show. And remember, guys, don't forget to be mindful. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.